In verse 3, it says, I read this in your hearing. The gatekeeper opens the gate for him, and the sheep listen to his voice. He calls his own sheep by name and leads them out. I have the privilege of being called a leader of the Rwandans. But today, I want to tell you that I want to be a good shepherd. And the story has it that a shepherd back then, what he did was, they had this enclosure. And this enclosure, the people, the herdsmen, would bring all their sheep. Mr. X would bring his sheep, Y would his sheep, and they would just put them in this enclosure. And then at the entrance, the shepherd or the gatekeeper would spend the night there. And the herdsman will go to town to find a place to stay overnight. In the mornings, Mr. X would show up. There was a gatekeeper who spent his night in the opening so that none of those sheep escaped. So when the herdsmen come from town after breakfast, suppose they had breakfast in the Nazarene hills, he will stand, the gatekeeper will get out of the way, and Mr. X will stand and call his sheep by name. And only his sheep would come out. Mr. Number 2, number 3, number 4 do likewise. When you share our stories, any Rwandan leader needs to call each person in their community by name, know their stories, share their stories, so that you and I, witnesses to the stories, can share those stories and know how to support our people. I would be derelict in my duties if I do not seek out the survivors in my community so that they, slowly but surely, can share their experiences. Because if you and I, who have heard, let it just reside within us and not inspire others to tell their story, then why would we be witnesses, and what are we witnesses to? Delphine, I shared a moment with her last evening as well. And she tells me it's the first time she's told her story. Now, if you didn't hear her story, seek her out. But I was inspired to hear that. She came from a brokenness, and she was able to share it. And there are many in our communities that have yet to share their stories. So, Kwibuka, USA, my commitment to you, the team that got us here, is that I, as the shepherd of the Rwandans here in the United States, I will be calling on the other local shepherds. Stand guard, protect their loved ones, protect their sheep in their communities, and call them by name. Call them by name. Why? Because even when you have a crowd of sheep, the Bible says, we're just read from, he calls them each out by his name, meaning even that sheepish sheep has a name. Survivors is a cluster of individual faces that you and I need to take a look at. this time, may we hear the chorus of names and their stories. If you and I cannot tell their stories, we have nothing to remember. I'm humbled to have been here today, this weekend. We heard many things. I feel unworthy to be one that carries this mantle of leadership. But I'm humbled that there is somebody in my community that I can support. So I call on the leaders, those that are here and those that are listening, get to know the people in your community.